What's going on, people? Welcome to another Emotion Football live stream. My name is Alam, and today we got quarterback musical chairs, people. We got a stream that I'm probably going to be doing 3 times a year. I'm thinking this is a nifty little stream to do um, going into the off season, going into the season, and then probably one time mid season. So this is going to be something I'm doing for a good little bit. If this is the second time I'm doing this, if you guys haven't seen the first one, this live stream will be a part of a playlist called Quarterback Musical Chairs. Feel free to go back and check out the last one. And if you guys aren't familiar with the concept, basically what we're going to do is we're going to go through every single team and parse through the teams that have quarterbacks, or at least a quarterback situation that's established enough to where they're not going to try to add somebody who could be a quarterback one in the offseason. And we're going to look at the teams that obviously are going to try to make a move for a quarterback one, and we're going to try to parse out the teams that, it's the water is a bit muddy, and we don't quite know what they're going to do. So that's the point of this exercise, people. This is very much an interactive stream, so feel free to get involved and be a part of the conversation. If you're watching this after the fact on replay, subscribe to the channel so that you can be here when we go live. Everything I do is live streaming. I'm not really a pre-upload kind of a guy. These streams are always the best when it's a back and forth. So that's what we're gonna do, people. I'm gonna start out by going through the teams that just definitely don't have moves to make. And I think what I'm gonna do to start is, does this work? Does this make things very clear and easy to read? Because we're gonna go division by division. Actually, no, that kind of makes things hard. Can I go 300? Whoa, 300. No, 200 is the highest. Okay, fair enough. Well, we'll just have to do it this way. I think that's still fairly easy to read. But yeah, we're gonna go through first the situations where teams are definitely not gonna make moves for quarterbacks. So Buffalo Bills, we're gonna put their color. Oh, that's the text color. No. Reset. We want the team color. So the Bills are definitely not going to make a move for a quarterback under any circumstances. They have Josh Allen. If they're going to add a quarterback, it's going to be a backup. So yeah, that's that. The Miami Dolphins, you know what? I'm not going to say that they're not going to make a move for a quarterback one. We're going to have to revisit them. The Jets, their situation is unclear with Aaron Rodgers. The Patriots are definitely not making a move for a quarterback that could be a quarterback one because they have Drake May. The Bengals also fall into this category, as do the Ravens, with Burrow and Lamar. Steelers, they don't have a quarterback under contract, so we definitely have to leave open the possibility that they're going to make a move. And then the Browns, they don't have, I think the only quarterback on their roster that they know is going to be healthy for week one is DTR. So the Browns, we also can't put in this red category. What the hell is this? Okay, cool. That stopped being weird. The Jaguars are simply too deep with Trevor Lawrence, and the Titans have CJ Stroud, who, despite the sophomore slump, is obviously their solution. So we're going to put the Jags and the Texans in this grouping of teams that under no circumstances are going to make moves for quarterback ones. Broncos, yep, they got Bo Nix, rookie that got them to the playoffs. Chargers have Herbert on a big money deal. Chiefs have the baby goat. So wait, what the hell? Wrong column. Undo. So this division has a bunch of teams that will not be making moves for quarterbacks that could potentially be quarterback ones. So as for where that leaves the AFC, you have more than half of the AFC with quarterback situations that will probably stop them from making a move for a top level quarterback. We'll move to the NFC now. Commanders. What the hell is this? Okay. Got Jaden Daniels. Why do I feel like this is bold? Is this font different? No, it's not. My eyes are just playing tricks on me. Okay, yeah. We have this team has Jaden Daniels. Jeez. This team has Dak Prescott, and this team has Jalen Hurts. So you got shout out Disco Flash. Good to see you in here. Uh yeah, we're on the other side, opposite sides of this Super Bowl. So me and Disco Flash, up until next Sunday, not friends. Um, but yeah, the Commanders, Cowboys, and Eagles will not be making moves for quarterbacks that could be quarterback ones. The Giants do I think the only quarterback they have under contract. Actually, no, they have no quarterbacks under contract. DeVito is a free agent too. The Bears got Caleb Williams. Lions have Goff and Hendon Hooker. This team has Love. And then the Vikings, I don't think we can put the Vikings in this category because the Minnesota Vikings, the quarterback they have under contract is JJ McCarthy. And we don't know whether he's going to be ready to play between his injury, between his youth. There's a couple things to be cautious about with before you just assume he's going to play the entire year. So, not going to say that the Vikings are a team that just will not make a move. Because again, even for them, if they sign Darnold, that's making a move for a quarterback that could be a QB1. So we're going to leave that possibility open. The Bucks have Baker. The Falcons have Penix, and then the Panthers have a Bryce Young who figured things out a little bit down the stretch. And with a coach that was a big part of the reason that it happened, they're not going to be making a serious move for a quarterback. I think they definitely have to give Bryce Young. I mean, he outplayed CJ Stroud last year, right? They have to give him an opportunity to see if he can keep getting better. But the Panthers are not going to be making a serious move for a quarterback, in my opinion. Again, I'm filling this out as I would. But anybody who has different thoughts, feel free to put them in the chat. The Cardinals have Kyler Murray. Niners have Purdy. And then the other two situations I actually think are kind of fluid. In the Rams case, they have Matt Stafford, who on one hand definitely could retire. Like there's no guarantee that he's going to continue playing. There's rumors about his retirement, so you have to keep that in mind. But also the other thing that I feel like nobody's talking about with Stafford, he didn't show up last year until they gave him guaranteed money in his contract. He refused to play this year without having some guarantees. You know, a quarterback of his age, of his stature, you know, he's not gonna, like, if he already showed last year he's not willing to play for unguaranteed money. His salary this upcoming year is unguaranteed as well. So if he didn't do it last year, what are the odds he's going to do it this year? So between the fact that Stafford could retire and the fact that Stafford might have to get paid, like I don't think there's 100% certainty he's going to be back next year. Oh shit, Disco Flash is pointing out that we got a raid. Shout out to everybody who came in from the raid. I guess you guys are here from Sarcasm City. I think it was a United and Arsenal show. Big up to everybody in here. My name is Alam. This is Emotion Football. We are not talking about footy though. We're talking about American football. I'm doing a little stream here called Quarterback Musical Chairs, where we're going to discuss the quarterback situation of every team in the NFL. So if this isn't necessarily your sport, this stream is probably going to be a hard stream to follow along with. However, feel free to subscribe to the channel because we have watch-alongs for games. And if you're looking to get into the sport, that would be a pretty cool opportunity to just watch ball with other people who love the sport, bounce some questions off of them, and that might be able to help you familiarize yourself with the game. But if you do love ball, this would be a pretty cool stream to stick around for. But nonetheless, man, shout out to everybody here from Sarcasm City. Make sure you guys hit the like button and subscribe to the channel to support an extension of the Sarcasm City family. What's good, Jared? Jared, I'll let you in at the end. Like, I'll just go through this one time, and then you can, I'll let you get in at the end, and we'll chat about everything, and you can like put your get your opinions off. Ask many questions. We are very open to answer, 100%. I'm just going to plug this charger in really quickly. Give me like a brief minute, people. But yeah, so we got through every quarterback situation in football that I think is rock solid in terms of whether a team will look to add more. Again, a quarterback that could be a quarterback one. Obviously, a team like the Falcons, they're probably going to sign a high-quality backup. A team like the Panthers probably going to sign a high-quality backup. But quarterbacks like Gardner Minshew or whatever, like we know that they're just backups. I'm not really including those kind of quarterbacks in this discussion. So that's what we're gonna do. So we've ruled out the teams, all the teams in like these teams in red are the teams that we know are not gonna make a move. A team like the Dolphins. Now, the Miami Dolphins, they have Tua, but the issue with Tua obviously is that he's never healthy. He's not that he's never healthy. He's never able to play a whole season. He always misses time for one reason or another. And they've had a couple of seasons now completely wrecked by the fact that he wasn't able to play all 17 games. I think the Dolphins are going to make a move for a serious backup this time. And I think for the Dolphins, they've tried to go the route of backup quarterbacks that they spend money on. I think they've had expensive backups before. They've had inexpensive backups. Neither of them have worked. People, I actually think the Dolphins are going to make a move for a backup quarterback through the draft that actually has serious upside. So I think the Dolphins, we're going to put them in the middle because I don't think it's guaranteed that they make a move. But I think they might draft a. Hold on, I'll just write this down. A QB in draft. I think that the Dolphins are serious candidates to draft a quarterback in the draft. In the second round, third round, like maybe higher than some people would expect. But between the fact that you don't know for sure that Tua can play 17 games in a year, but you also don't for sure know that he's not going to sustain a head injury that ends his career. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Dolphins actually. How much longer on Tua's contract? Awesome question. We can look that up right now. Tua Tagovailoa. So he signed a 4-year deal. So basically, the deal is for 4 more years, but the deal is really financially like they're strapped into Tua for 2 more years. So I guess, and to be honest, when you think about it that way, it makes sense because you could draft a quarterback in the 3rd round, and the 2 years that you're stuck with Tua, that's the time for that quarterback to be the backup and maybe play for 3-4 games if Tua gets hurt. But then also, if you're not comfortable paying Tua even more money, those are 2 years you could develop this young quarterback and then let Tua go after those 2 years happen. So I think drafting a quarterback for the Dolphins makes a ton of sense, and it's what I expect to happen. So part of what I'm doing here is that we're going to talk about what their reality is in terms of the situation they're facing, and then at some point we're going to get into some predictions about what will happen. So Tua just needs to stay healthy. He does, but that's also very much not in his control, so it's a complicated situation. So I think they could draft a quarterback. I think they will draft a quarterback. That's kind of my prediction. But yeah, obviously they're not. I don't think they're going to spend money because they've tried to spend money on backups before. For them to spend even more money to get like a really expensive backup, I don't think they would like. I don't think it helps them enough. I think a backup quarterback in the draft with serious upside actually makes sense. Now the Jets are also going to get yellow because they might just roll. Like yellow is basically they could make a move, they could not make a move, right? So I'm thinking the Dolphins, they could draft somebody, but they also could just do the route that stick to what they've been doing so far, which is drafting a player signing a player like Tyler Huntley, signing a Mike White. It's possible. The Jets we're going to put at yellow as well because Aaron Rodgers is under contract. But there's no guarantee he's going to play football or that he's going to play for the Jets at all. I'll give my take on this. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to play for Aaron Glenn. I don't know if he's going to play football or not, but here's my I kind of don't think he would want to go out the way he went out last year. But I really think that he's not a fit for a coach like Aaron Glenn, because let's think about where Aaron Glenn comes from, right? We know him as the defensive coordinator for the Lions. The Lions are heavily a culture organization. They care about players being invested 100% all the time. They really seem like they try to foster a family environment. And if Aaron Glenn is bringing that to New York, that doesn't really seem like where Aaron Rodgers is at this point of his career. Because one, apparently he was butting heads with the Packers coach LaFleur because he didn't quite want to do a lot of LaFleur's offensive concepts, and that led to LaFleur having to cater everything for him when it comes to the offensive scheme. In New York, we obviously saw that he was missing OTAs. He had, instead of going to the mandatory mini camps, he was in Egypt. So like, I don't think where he's at and what he's looking for, I don't think it matches who Aaron Glenn is to me. Because again, I don't know much about him because defensive coordinators don't really get a platform to show us who they are. But based on my understanding, I do not think that Aaron Rodgers and Aaron Glenn makes any sense at all. So I think the Jets are in the market for a quarterback. I don't think they're going to have Aaron Rodgers, whether he decides to play or not. So I think the Jets are in the market for a quarterback. And because they draft number 7, they're the number 7 in the draft, they're in a good spot to potentially get one of the top 2 quarterbacks in the draft. So Shador or Cam Ward at number 7, but also, they could sign a quarterback as well. So, QB in draft or FA. Yeah, the Jets could go either direction. I don't think it's guaranteed that they could go sign somebody or draft somebody, but I do think it's guaranteed, in my opinion at least, that they're not going to have Aaron Rodgers. So when we get to the Browns, they have to make a move for a quarterback that can play. So that's a green. Like, they absolutely have to make a move for a quarterback because Deshaun Watson is not going to play football next year, I don't think, because of his Achilles injury that just happened recently. Dorian Thompson-Robinson has seen the football field in his rookie year and his sophomore year. He has not shown any indications he's ready to play football like consistently as a starter. You can't walk into the year and say, this is our guy for 17 games. Jameis Winston is a free agent. The Browns absolutely have to bring in a quarterback that can play week 1. But the tricky thing for the Browns is they don't have the money because they've spent a lot of money on Deshaun Watson. They've pushed a lot of his money into the later years of the contract, and the later years of the contract are now. So I think the Browns have to get a quarterback in the draft. I really don't think there's any way around it. I think for them, the tricky thing is do you go quarterback at 2 or do you go quarterback in the second round? Because I think a lot of people would say that Shador and Cam Ward are not the second. Neither of them is the second best player in the draft. However, obviously the need for a quarterback trumps all. But I do not think that he it's great value. So from that standpoint, it might make sense to take a great player in the draft at number 2 overall and then circle back for a quarterback in the second round. I think that's where the debate is, but I think it's pretty clear that they're going to have to draft a quarterback. Pittsburgh Steelers, absolutely, they're going to be green because they absolutely have to make a move for a quarterback that could be a quarterback 1. And the reason is because they don't have anybody under contract. Russell Wilson is a free agent. Justin Fields is a free agent. So yeah, they have to make a move. The tricky thing with them is that, you know what? I don't think they can afford to draft a quarterback and have a backup. Like, sign a quarterback that's a backup because they have nobody on the roster. If let's say they sign, let's find an example of a backup quarterback in free agency. Oh, Jacoby Brissett, right? Let's say Pittsburgh in free agency signs Jacoby Brissett, and that's it. I think that's a clear signal to the rest of the football world. Hey, we're drafting a quarterback. And I think if they put that bat signal out to the rest of the world, it puts them in a very difficult position because you don't want to be predictable on draft night, especially when you have a pick as late as Pittsburgh does. Pittsburgh does not have, I think they picked number 20th or something in that area. So if you have the 20th pick and you're making it clear to the world you're taking a quarterback, any team that likes the quarterbacks is going to know they have to trade ahead of you. It would be strategically irresponsible to sign a backup quarterback and then go into the draft. So I actually think the Steelers have to leave free agency with a starting caliber quarterback. They could have a starter that they could then draft a quarterback behind, and I actually think that's going to be the strategy. But I think the Steelers are going to do both. I think they're going to sign a quarterback that could be a quarterback one, and I think they're also going to draft a quarterback that could be a quarterback one. So Steelers are going to get the both tag. They're definitely going to make moves for both. So that's where I have the Steelers. The Colts have AR. But the Colts have Chris Ballard has already came out and said that they're going to provide competition for him. So for the Colts, they've made clear that they're not comfortable just handing Anthony Richardson the job. But competition would not mean drafting a quarterback. You don't draft a young quarterback to compete with a young quarterback. So the Colts are definitely going to sign a quarterback. And I don't think they're going to sign a Jacoby Brissett. I think they're going to sign somebody who can meaningfully compete with AR. So that's where I have the Colts. And then the Titans are fascinating. They're definitely going to make a move. I think they've seen enough with Will Levis. I don't think they're going to outright put him in a spot where he has no pathway to playing time. But I think under no circumstances are they going to even put him in a situation with like Richardson is in. I think it's tough for them because neither this coach or this GM decided for Levis to be here, right? Levis was drafted by the prior general manager and I think the prior coach. So this general manager and this coach has no allegiance to Will Levis. They're going to bring a quality quarterback in. I just kind of get the feeling that it's not going to be a drafted quarterback because one of the team presidents, the higher up execs for the Titans, went on a show and talked about how you don't pass up on generational talents in the draft. And the thing about the quarterbacks in this draft is not one of them are generational talents. So I do think that they're not going quarterback at number 1 overall. But it's possible they go quarterback number 2 overall. It's possible they sign somebody in free agency. I kind of feel like to avoid putting Levis in Levis has played too shit to deserve any consideration. But yeah, they could QB in FA or draft. They could go either way. The Titans, it really depends. I feel like they're going to actually base the decision off what their prospects are of getting a quarterback in free agency or the draft. And then the Raiders are actually, I think, in the exact same position the Jets are, where it could go either way because their quarterback right now is Gardner Minshew. And under no circumstances are they just going to walk into the year with Gardner Minshew. And then I think they also have Aiden O'Connell still. Yeah, they do. But I know they're going to add a meaningful quarterback addition. They pick number 6 overall. So again, number 6 could get them one of the top quarterbacks, but they could also make a meaningful addition and use that pick on something else. So this is definitely going to be, did I have it the same way? You know what? For the sake of thoroughness, we're going to make that the exact same. So the Raiders, the Titans, and the Jets are all probably going to be in the market for a quarterback, but with no specific way of getting it. I think the Browns and Dolphins are definitely going to draft quarterbacks. The Steelers, I think, are going to do both. The Colts are just going to sign somebody in free agency. And that's how I see the AFC quarterback situation, or how I see the AFC quarterback musical chairs going. We're going to get to the NFC now. So we have the Giants, who have nobody. The Giants have absolutely nobody. But it could go either way as well, man. They pick number 3 overall. There's a chance both the quarterbacks go 1 and 2, and they're in a tough spot where they can't go quarterback in round 1. Do they chance it to, like in free agency, do they chance it that they could get the quarterback that they want even in round 2? I think it's difficult, but I think the Giants are also they're in the same spot as Pittsburgh. I think the Giants go both. I think they have to make a meaningful quarterback signing and draft somebody, because being at 3 overall, you cannot guarantee that that Shador or Cam Ward is going to be on the board, especially with the Titans and the Browns, 2 quarterback needy teams picking 1 and 2. So they're going to have to sign somebody to leave the possibility that they can't get a quarterback they like in the draft. But then there's not like any franchise quarterbacks on the market, so they're going to probably have to draft somebody as well. So I see the Giants making both moves. The Vikings, I actually think the Vikings are in the exact same spot as, actually, hold on. We'll put this green. I think the Vikings are in the exact same spot as the Colts. So you have J.J. McCarthy, but I think you have to provide meaningful competition. You have to provide meaningful competition because, 1, he's coming off a major injury, so you don't know if he's ready to play. But 2, he was a really young rookie. He was set to be a 21-year-old rookie, and 21-year-old rookies can usually play football, but they're usually, well, not necessarily, like, never polished quarterbacks. They're just out there to get experience. I remember Goff as a 21-year-old. I remember Darnold as a 21-year-old. I remember Lamar as a 21-year-old. 21-year-old quarterbacks, again, are almost nothing compared to what they are at like 24, 25. So he was probably never going to see the field as a rookie, but the hope would have been as a rookie that, you get to be a backup, you get to meaningfully prepare, you get to meaningfully practice and take some type of steps forward to where maybe when you're 22, you're ready to play. The tricky thing for McCarthy is he sustained a major knee injury. So I don't know how much happened in his rookie year that he was rehabbing a major knee injury to get him prepared to grow past being a 21-year-old quarterback. Like, I think he might be a 21-year-old quarterback in spirit still. So between the injury and between the youthfulness / inexperience, I think you cannot go into the year thinking JJ McCarthy is our guy. So big up Brock. Yo, by the way, Brock, before I get into this, shout out to you. We were talking about Robert Saleh being the Niners defensive coordinator a couple of streams ago. Fair is fair. And I did not think it was possible or that it was going to happen. Like, I thought that it would be bad for his career because, like, you're kind of taking a step back to something we already know you can do. But he did it. And you guys got a great defensive coordinator. So congrats for getting the great defensive coordinator and congrats for being right. But yeah, I just wanted to get that out of the way. But big up to you, bro. Good to see you. So yeah, I think the Vikings have to make a meaningful quarterback addition. When we get to the Saints, so the Saints, they're going to be yellow because there's no guarantee that the Saints make a move. They have Derek Carr, they have Spencer Rattler, and they have Jake Haener. So they have 2 quarterbacks that they drafted in the last 2 years. In theory, you could just run it back with Carr, and then you could just develop the young quarterbacks, and you could just do nothing at the quarterback position because, again, it's not a great quarterback free agency or a great quarterback draft. You might kick the can down the road and roll with what you have. However, the Derek Carr contract is relatively tradable. And you have a coach coming in. We don't even know who the coach is yet, but the coach might come in and say, I don't want Derek Carr. That's not my guy. I want to go pull for somebody else. And if that's what your coach says, Derek Carr's contract is very tradable. And again, there are some teams that, when we look at the options compared to the openings for the quarterback position, 100%, somebody might look at Derek Carr and say, we'll take him on a 1-year deal. So this is a yellow situation. Nothing could happen or something could happen. And that leaves us with the Rams and the Seahawks as our last 2 teams. So I already talked about with the Rams. I talked about the Rams, how they're going to be yellow because they have Stafford. They have, what's his name? Stetson Bennett. So again, they could just roll it back with those 2. Sign a veteran backup. But again, I already talked about with Stafford. If he retires, then the Rams have to make a meaningful addition. And if he doesn't retire, but he wants guaranteed money, they have to negotiate a new deal. So there's a couple things that are on the table for Stafford to not be there. As of now, We can probably assume that he is, but there's a chance he's not. So we're just going to leave that possibility open. Again, he did not show up to training camp last year because he did not want to play with on a contract with no guaranteed money. Going into this upcoming year, he's again on a contract with no guaranteed money. So that has to get figured out if he decides to not retire. So again, just something to keep in mind. And then the Seahawks I'm putting at yellow as well. I'm putting them at yellow. I think here's the thing with the Seahawks. They have Geno Smith on a 1-year deal, like the last year of his deal, and they have a new offensive coach. So the coach is still there, McDonald, but the offensive coach, Clint Kubiak, no, what is his name? Clint? I think it's Clint. Clint Kubiak is brand new. You have a new offensive coach. Maybe he doesn't like Geno Smith. Maybe he wants somebody else. He's from the Shanahan Niners, McVay. He's from that world. I don't know if he wants a young quarter. If he wants he might want a Kirk Cousins who is probably going to sign for the minimum salary. So you might be able to get some value trading Geno, signing Cousins, drafting a quarterback. I think the Seahawks situation is unclear because Geno Smith, again, like you talk about a team like the Vikings or the Colts, Geno Smith on a 1-year deal might not be a bad option. And if this OC doesn't want Geno Smith, he could definitely call for somebody else. So I think, again, so here it could be QB in FA or draft. We're going to copy paste this here. Yeah, Saints, it could be either. Actually, no, you know what? With the Saints, do they pick high enough? They might not. But yeah, we'll have to see. I don't think so. So to zoom out now, is this too small? It is too small. What about 125? Okay, here we go. You know what? No, we'll have to do 100. Wait. There we go. Okay, 150. Bang. So here's the board. That's too small. I have to change this now. Cool. Here we go. So here's the board. And then what I have at the bottom are, again, these are the quarterbacks that I would deem the potential meaningful additions, right? So for the free agents, you have Sam Darnold, Justin Fields, Russell Wilson, and Kirk Cousins. And for the players that could be traded, it's Stafford, Carr, Geno Smith, and Aaron Rodgers. I included Kirk Cousins as a free agent because the rumor is that he is going to use his no trade clause to get cut, just like Derek Carr did. So putting him as a free agent. And then the meaningful additions in the draft to me are Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, Jalen Milroe, Jackson Dart, and Quinn Ewers. And when I say meaningful additions, I mean, I think these are the quarterbacks that you draft. Again, you're not going to play all of them. And to be honest, you might not even play any of them as rookies. But these are the quarterbacks you draft with at least a small hope that this guy might be a guy. I think if you drafted Dylan Gabriel, you got to know you're probably looking at a backup. If you draft, I don't know, a bunch of the other guys, I think you have to know that you're probably getting a backup. But when it comes to these guys, I think there's a faint hope that, this guy could develop into somebody. So that's why there's these 5 quarterbacks here. But you tally these names together, they're 13 names. So with that in mind, people, we're going to start plugging in some of these spots. And I'm going to start throwing some. So let's do a quick tally on how many free agency destinations there are. So in terms of teams that are definitely going to get a free agent, I think you got the Giants, the Steelers, the Vikings, the Colts. Hold on. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 4 teams for sure that I think are going to make move for meaningful additions. Then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 teams that are on the fence. So that leaves a total of 10 teams that could possibly. Actually, yeah, Jared, you're good to join, bro. Come through. I think that leaves. Did I put the StreamYard link down there? Oh yeah, I did. Okay, cool. Yeah, come through. So I think that there's 10 teams that could possibly make moves. 2 teams probably get bullied out of it. because again, there's just not enough names. Now I don't know. Maybe a team looks at a Daniel Jones or a Jacoby Brissett and says, that's fine. We might have to make a move for that kind of a quarterback, but ultimately, I think that's not the case. What we're gonna do initially though is I'm gonna strike through the Rams, and we're gonna lock Stafford in. So we're gonna say that Stafford stays in LA. We're gonna say he decides get me a new QB. Bro, I think it's gonna happen. I think it's gonna happen. Oh shit. That's hilarious. Disco Flash said get me another ring. Man, I hope not. I hope not this year. Maybe next year. Maybe next year. What's going on, Jared? Welcome to the stream.
Nothing much. You?
Chilling. I'm chilling. This is all I have going on right now. But so what I did is I crossed out the Rams and Matthew Stafford, and we're gonna say for argument's sake, he decides that he's not gonna retire, and he decides that and they end up negotiating a deal with him to stay. So we're gonna cross off Matthew Stafford. So one of the 8 meaningful names has been crossed out. Now I'm gonna hold off on doing the same for Derek Carr. I think this would be a great time. Actually, I think we should move to Aaron Rodgers. What do you think?
Yeah, I think he's getting older, and he doesn't look very good in the Jets, though.
Definitely didn't look very good. Again, Aaron Rodgers very well might not be playing football, right? But if we're going to look at the teams that could go for quarterbacks in free agency, right? The Jets are on the table. We know that's one option,
Browns?
right? What did you say?
The Browns?
Oh, I don't think the Browns have the money. I think all their money is tied up
Yeah.
in Deshaun Watson. So I'm going to leave the Steelers to the side because I actually think the Steelers are a very interesting conversation. But Tennessee Titans, no, I don't think they're nearly set. Like they have a young coach and they don't have a set team. So I think that's definitely not an option. The Raiders, no, I don't think that that would entice an old quarterback like Rodgers. Would he go to the Vikings to be McCarthy's backup, or not even maybe McCarthy? Vikings, I think that's an interesting option for Aaron Rodgers. Giants, hell no. Saints, no.
I think the Vikings would be perfect for him to help out JJ McCarthy.
So I think that looking at the landscape, the 2 options for him are Pittsburgh or Minnesota. So we're going to talk through Pittsburgh first. Why Pittsburgh? I think that Pittsburgh is in a situation where they need to make a move because they've basically won 10 wins with a bunch of random quarterbacks, right? Last year they had Kenny Pickett, Duck Hodges, and Mason Rudolph. They won 10 wins. This year they had Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. They won 10
wins.
There's a lot of pressure on their coach, a lot of pressure on their GM. I think they have to try to do something to get better. But again, when you look at a lot of these names, right? You had Fields and Wilson last year. Does aging Kirk Cousins, who just had a horrible year, help you? No. Does Sam Darnold help you? That's a scary there's a reality. To a certain extent, Russell Wilson played better at the end of the year than Sam Darnold, right? We crossed out Matthew Stafford. I think the Steelers would be all over Matthew Stafford if he was an option. But I don't think we already here for this exercise. We decided it's not. We decided he's staying in LA, right? So yeah, I think the Steelers. One of the things they can tell themselves is, you know what, with Aaron Rodgers, at least we think we're going to have a good defense. We think we're going to have a good running game. We have a good receiver. They're going to plan to get one more. They might look at Aaron Rodgers and say, you know what, if he's got anything left, maybe he gives us a better option. And here's the key thing for the Steelers, I think, with Aaron Rodgers. I think Mike Tomlin is because he's an older coach, he's an experienced coach, and he's somebody that has spent a lot of time in the league. I think Aaron Rodgers respects him the way he doesn't respect a lot of these younger coaches, in my opinion.
And haven't they played against each other in the playoffs, though?
In the Super Bowl, yeah.
Yeah, so Mike Tomlin knows how Aaron Rodgers plays.
Exactly. And have you seen that clip of them doing a hat tip?
Yeah, I saw that.
Exactly. So I actually think the Steelers are a fascinating option. But then Gail brought up just what I was thinking about. Just like Favre went from Packers to Jets to Vikings. But, for that reason, Rodgers might not want to do it just because of how weird it is. But, man, I think if Rodgers decides to play football, like I said, I don't think he'll mesh with Aaron Glenn and the Jets, who I think with their young GM are going to try to, get younger. I think if he comes back, it's down to Steelers or Vikings. And I don't know if he didn't like playing for LaFleur, I don't think he would like playing for Kevin O'Connell. So here's my take, guys. Here's my take. I think the Steelers would probably enjoy the idea of signing Aaron Rodgers and drafting a young quarterback. I think Rodgers would like the idea of playing with Tomlin, and I think the Steelers would look at Rodgers as a potential hope to maybe get better quarterback play than they've had. So, for the sake of this exercise, people, I'm going to put Aaron Rodgers in Pittsburgh.
Plus, he has good receivers in Pittsburgh too.
For sure, if they add one more receiver to Pickens, they have a pretty interesting set of options, and probably better than. And here's the thing too, right? If they get Rodgers, they probably wouldn't have a hard time getting Devontae Adams in free agency.
Oh, that's true.
So we are going to put Rodgers in Pittsburgh.
And who would Minnesota get?
So Minnesota, I think maybe we can talk about Sam Darnold now. So Sam Darnold,
he had 2 bad weeks on the last week of football.
It's a complicated thing. So Sam, from his standpoint, right, I think he would only sign somewhere where I think he's going to think about his career, and I think he's going to try to sign somewhere where he has a respectable shot at being the quarterback. So if we just go team by team,
Patriots, no.
We said the Dolphins are going to go in the draft because they already have money tied up in Tua. He could never go back to the Jets because that was a horrible time he had there.
The Patriots.
Browns are going in the Patriots have Drake May.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They won't go after him because they have Drake May.
Browns.
They can't because they have that Watson contract.
Yeah. We already gave Rodgers to the Steelers. I don't think Darnold would be interested in competing with a quarterback like Anthony Richardson, because if Richardson makes strides in the offseason, he probably loses.
And he doesn't quit in the middle of a game.
Exactly. Titans, I think the Titans are a viable option for Sam Darnold. We're going to put that to the side. I think the Raiders could be a viable option. I think the Giants and Vikings would both be viable options. What I would say, though, is I don't think New Orleans or Seattle are viable options, because I don't think you pivot from Geno or Derek Carr to go to Sam Darnold. Like, I think that's too lateral of a move. So I think if you're looking at Darnold, his options are New York, Tennessee, Vegas, or the Vikings. And oddly enough, I think these are all pretty similar options, because if he goes to Minnesota, he knows J.J. McCarthy is waiting in the wings. And then if he goes to Tennessee, the Giants, or the Raiders, he has to know that they're probably going to be drafting a quarterback. And in the event that they don't, the Titans still have Will Levis. So in a way, he's going to go somewhere where he probably gets a chance to play early, but there's somebody lurking and waiting in the wings. So now
I think he stays with the Vikings.
It's a pretty strong possibility. I also think here's the interesting thing. They could franchise tag him to keep him off the market and negotiate with him exclusively. You got to keep that in mind as well. So I think we should actually project that. We should project that they franchise tag him.
To see how it goes.
Keep him off the market, negotiate with him exclusively, and figure out a deal. So we've awarded Sam Darnold to the Vikings. I'm liking what we have going on so far.
And who else is there for a free agent quarterback?
What's that?
Who else is there?
Justin Fields, Russell Wilson, or Kirk Cousins. I don't think Kirk goes back.
Justin Fields, I think he goes to a contender team.
I think Justin Fields doesn't go somewhere. I think it's tough. He might not have enough leverage to say, I don't want to go somewhere where there's a young quarterback waiting in the wings. So that might be a bit of an issue.
So stay with Pittsburgh?
So here's the thing. In this case, like, he could go back to Pittsburgh, but in this case, we gave them Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So that's not on the table. So actually, you know what? Let's focus on Fields then. Justin Fields, let's again, team by team. He could go to the Jets. He could go. I don't think he could go to the Colts. I think him and AR. Like, again, I think the Colts
Them two are
actually are
two
going to
young
have a
quarterbacks.
hard time attracting a great free agent like quarterback, because there's always the possibility that AR figures his shit out and he becomes like we know there's a possibility he could figure things out, and he's so dynamic as an athlete. Like, I think that's a scary proposition for a quarterback that's hoping to beat out a young prospect. I would rather try to beat out a rookie Cam Ward or JJ McCarthy, or there's a bunch of other quarterbacks
Or Sanders.
rather beat out. Even Shadur. So I don't think he's going there.
I don't think he's going back to the Bears. I know that for sure.
Justin Fields to the Titans. The only reason I don't think that could be the case is the only thing we know about that coach in Tennessee is that he came from the Bengals. And if somebody comes from the Bengals, and I'm thinking about a Joe Burrow offense, I don't know if Fields is the guy. But again, it's this really tough thing to say because we know no experience, like none of his experience other than that, like meaningfully. Like, again, I haven't studied anything else he's done. And, the Bengals had the number 1 overall pick. They took the quarterback that was there. So,
and they got their franchise quarterback in Joe Burrow.
and, that may as well have not, that could have also not been the stylistic choice. It might have just been the best player they could take. So it's really hard to get a feel for the quarterback he would like to have. But, maybe you could say, yeah, Fields is in play for the Jets or the Titans or the Raiders.
The Vikings?
Or the Vikings or the Giants. Like, I think he is. I also think that if you're talking about the Seahawks or the Saints, right? I think he's the only quarterback left that you could potentially pivot from Derek Carr or Geno Smith from, just because he's still so stylistically different. So the Saints have the what's it called? The Seahawks have a new offensive coach, right? If the offensive coach comes in and says, I want a mobile quarterback, that's not Geno Smith.
No, Justin Fields.
Exactly, right? Now, the Saints, we don't know who their coach is going to be. But if their coach says, I want a mobile quarterback, you get rid of Derek Carr and you go for Justin Fields. So here's the thing. I actually think we should save Justin Fields for the end, because I think he's a viable option for like almost everybody left. So,
and Geno Smith is 34 years old too.
Bingo. And the reason he's here is because his contract is very tradable. So how about this?
Yeah.
We'll save Justin Fields for later.
And Smith, and they said that Sports Illustrated says Geno Smith is on the hot seat going into the offseason.
Damn. Yeah, I mean, makes sense.
How
about Russell Wilson?
How old is Russell?
He's going to go somewhere where he's guaranteed to play early. So I think a team signing Russell Wilson is basically them saying, if we draft a guy, we're sitting him.
And he's 36 years old.
So, like, I would say that he's probably in play for Tennessee because they're in charge of their own destiny. If they sign Russell Wilson, then they're not going quarterback 1. They're probably going quarterback in the second round. So he's in play there. I think he's probably in play in New York. It's possible. Probably in play in Vegas. I don't know if he would be in play with the Giants, because I think Dayball's history is that of having running quarterbacks. Between Josh Allen and Daniel Jones, Dayball, I think, is definitely going to look for a running quarterback. So I don't think he's in play there. And I don't think he would be in play for the Saints or the Seahawks. So
because he played for the Seahawks,
that leaves us with Titans,
Giants,
Raiders, or Jets. And here's the thing. I think, we don't have enough information to make a good decision, but you think it's fair to say that if you're thinking about those 3 teams, the team with Pete Carroll, his old coach that he's won a Super Bowl with, probably makes sense?
Yeah, he won it, in 2015?
I forget what year it is, but also, I don't know if you saw this, but Pete Carroll interviewed Darrell Bevell for the offensive coordinator spot, and Darrell Bevell was the OC in Seattle when they won the Super Bowl with Russell Wilson. So if Pete Carroll's there, Darrell Bevell's there, I'm thinking
2014.
I'm thinking we should award the Raiders Russell Wilson because they bring the whole family back together. So Russell Wilson has been given to the Raiders here in this exercise.
Yes, he won the Super Bowl in 2014 with when they beat the Broncos, when they beat Peyton Manning.
Yep. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
that was 2014. Pete Carroll and that offensive coordinator.
And then here's the other thing too. I think if they were to sign Russell Wilson, I think that puts Gardner Minshew on the market for a trade. So that's the other side of things. You could draft a quarterback if you sign Russell Wilson. You could decide, you know what, we're just going to develop Aiden O'Connell another year, or you could do either or. But you probably trade Gardner Minshew because now you have a veteran quarterback. So that move there, I think, puts Gardner Minshew on the market. So we're going to have to look at Gardner Minshew as well.
He did good with the Colts last year.
Oh, we're gonna talk about that, brother. We're gonna talk about that. Thank you. You just may have done a bit of a teaser for the audience. Big up to the 42 people watching live. Make sure you guys hit the like button and subscribe to the channel In Motion Football. We typically do a lot of watch-alongs, but we do little exercises like this.
And Thursday we are doing the Pro Bowls.
Yes, sir. And we're doing Pro Bowl watch-alongs and potentially a Super Bowl watch-along. I just have to see like the social side of things for me, like who's doing what. Then I don't have to pick and see.
If you do that, I'll join you.
100%. So, yeah, make sure you subscribe to the channel so that you never miss when we go live, because everything we do is live and everything we do is interactive. So,
plus, I don't want to buy a Patrick Mahomes jersey.
Exactly.
I want the Eagles to win, so I don't have to buy a Mahomes jersey. And I'll be sad if Barkley loses on his birthday too.
Yeah, that would suck. Want to look at Kirk Cousins next?
Didn't they sign him to a 4-year deal?
So here's the thing, though. Apparently, what he's going to do is that he's going to use his no trade clause to get cut, like Derek Carr did. So
why?
He has a no trade clause. I don't think here's the thing. He wasn't thrilled when they drafted Penix. He didn't think that they were going to draft somebody. They already benched him. I don't think he's not going to be a happy camper and show up and just happily be a backup. They can't trade him because he's going to use his no trade clause to get cut. That's what Derek Carr did.
Yeah. That Derek Carr cut from the Saints?
No, he got cut from the Raiders. On your side, but he got cut from the Raiders. They wanted to trade him, but he had a no trade clause. So he just used his no trade clause to veto every trade and get cut. Apparently, that's what Kirk Cousins is going to do. So this again, people, this is assuming that happens. If Kirk Cousins gets cut, I'm thinking that the Jets. Who did the Jets get as an offensive coordinator? Wait, we don't know that yet, do we? If they have an offensive coordinator, feel free to put that in the chat, somebody. But in terms of the rest of the conference, I don't think he would go to Indy. The Titans, I think he'd probably be in play. Also, there's still an echo, by the way. Nah, Jared is a Texans fan.
Is there any echo now?
Let me see. Yeah, there's an echo.
Hang on, let me put my headphones in. Then that'll work.
So so the other thing to keep in mind, people, with Kirk Cousins is that because he's going to get cut by the Falcons and there's going to be so much salary that the Falcons are paying, he's in the same situation as Russell Wilson, where there's offset language in the contract, meaning whatever he gets from his new team gets deducted from what his old team is paying him. So it makes logical sense for him to take a minimum salary deal. That's what Russell Wilson did with the Steelers in order to save his new team money so that they can make the team around him better. So Kirk Cousins is probably going to be a cheap free agent. And I think for that reason, he's a great fit for the Titans, because the Titans are going to have are basically going to have a lot of money on the books for big free agents like Calvin Ridley and L'Jarius Sneed. They spent a lot of money, I think, assuming that they could build the team around Will Levis. Now, I do think they're going to draft a quarterback, but I don't think they're drafting a quarterback number 1 overall. So they're going to draft a quarterback round 2 or later, in my opinion. And because that's the case, it makes more sense for Kirk Cousins to be there as opposed to in front of a quarterback like Penix, where the 8th overall pick is the guy. And they're going to be the guy the organization is going to want them to be the guy as soon as possible. But if he goes to Tennessee and they draft a quarterback in round 2, especially in this draft, there's really no guarantee that quarterback is ready to play year 1, maybe not even year 2. If you think about Cousins fitting in the offense, Burrow, again, obviously a lot more mobile than a Kirk Cousins after all these Achilles tears. Big up, Joel. Obviously a lot more mobile, but I do think that Stylistically, he fits as a pocket passer. I don't think he would go to the Giants. I also, again, I'm pretty confident the Giants are going to go for a more mobile quarterback. Yeah,
I have some CBS news.
What's that?
I have some predictions from CBS. Sam Darnold to the Jets.
That's a horrible.
Justin Fields.
I really don't think he would go back to that organization. But
Justin Fields back to the Steelers.
So
and Wilson to the Giants. Kirk Cousins to the Browns. Derek Carr to the Colts.
Wait. Kirk Cousins to the Browns is interesting because, like I just explained, he's going to be making the minimum salary. Wow. Okay, hold on. Stefanski also comes from that kind of a world as a play caller. Holy shit, I just realized the Browns are as interesting of a spot for Cousins as the Titans. But I do think if the two teams offer him minimum contracts, he'd probably rather go play with Calvin Ridley. And, honestly, a Titans team that their issue isn't talent. Like, they have a decent amount of players. Their issue was quarterback play. So, like I said, people, I'm going to predict the Titans go Cousins in free agency for a minimum salary contract to play, and then they go BPA number 1 overall, and then they go quarterback 2nd round. That's my call for the Titans right now. But we're going to award Cousins to the Titans. Actually, you know what? I can put that. So I'm going to put. Actually, let me rework this a little bit. I'm going to put Cousins over here. We're going to highlight this box with something to indicate that it's a new move. Okay, say less. And then I think they're still going to go quarterback in draft. You know what? Yeah, this is a good way of doing this. So
this is interesting.
We're going to award Rodgers. We awarded Rodgers to the Steelers, and they're still going quarterback in draft with Rodgers. And who else did we do? Oh, yeah, we did Wilson to the Raiders, and then they're still going quarterback in the draft as well. So this is what we've done so far.
This is so weird. They said Jimmy G to the Vikings, Jimmy Winston to the Broncos, Kenny Pickett to the Cardinals, Daniel Jones to the Rams.
Kenny Pickett to the Cardinals is a stretch because I don't think we're trading Kenny Pickett.
And Gardner Minshew to the Panthers.
Ooh, okay. You know what? While we're at it, let's do Gardner Minshew right now. My call is after the Raiders get Russell Wilson, I think they trade Gardner Minshew to the Colts. Why? He's already played for the Colts. He's already played for Shane Steichen multiple times in Indy and in Philadelphia. They need a backup that can play, but at the same time, they can't get too expensive or too good of a backup because they really want to give Anthony Richardson every opportunity. I think everything lines up pretty well to bring Gardner Minshew back. Again, I don't think there's any other organization that would be like head over heels for Gardner Minshew. With Russell Wilson, they don't really have a need anymore. So, yeah, I think.
Yeah, that'll be a good thing.
Yeah, I think they make a move for Gardner Minshew as a backup. Steichen gets his guy. And again, the Raiders really have no need for a player like that anymore.
And then right here says Kobe Brissett to the Raiders because of Tom Brady and Pete Carroll.
Oh shit. So now the only team left in the AFC that we think could make a move for a vet are the Jets.
This is funny. Zach Wilson to the Chiefs. They're protecting.
Oh, okay. That actually is a very Andy Reid thing to do. Okay, then we have Darnold over here.
And that's it.
And then this is done. So hold on. We're
going to strike through the Patriots.
We're going to strike through this. We're going to
Carson Wentz to the Steelers. What did he go to the Steelers though?
This is done.
Would Carson Wentz go to the Steelers though?
Carson Wentz to the. So you know what it is, Disco Flash. Andy Reid loves rehabbing quarterbacks. I actually think it gives him personal satisfaction. Like, you think Zach Wilson is a really big bust, right? But you know who else was a huge bust? Blaine Gabbert. And you know what Andy Reid did with Blaine Gabbert? He signed him to be Patrick Mahomes' backup. Right? So who else is a pretty big bust at this point? Carson Wentz, come be his backup, bro. Andy Reid loves rehabbing quarterbacks that failed. Exactly, bro. So when you think Zach Wilson and you think, oh my God, he's so shit, but so have a bunch of other quarterbacks that Andy Reid has gotten something out of, right?
And it says here that
go ahead.
Has cycled through veteran. Kansas City has cycled through veteran number 2s behind Patrick Mahomes.
Bingo. Yep.
And if Wilson goes to the Chiefs, that would be like Andy Reid could help them get back together.
Yeah.
And Mahomes.
Okay, so let's pivot to Justin Fields now, because we have to find a spot for Justin Fields. Now, the teams that we have left that I think are definitely going to make moves for quarterbacks are the Jets, the Giants, and then the wild card is the Saints or the Seahawks. Guys, do we know who the OC is for the Jets yet? I'm going to look that up.
I can look that up too.
Let's look that up right now. New York Jets offensive coordinator. New York Jets.
I don't think they signed anyone yet.
Okay, hold on. Top candidate. Oh, wait.
Reporting Jets are considering Lions for offensive coach position.
Oh, they're considering the Lions passing coordinator Tanner Engstrand. Okay, so they don't have somebody in mind. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking, guys, for Justin Fields. I think he goes to the Giants because I think Daboll likes and wants running quarterbacks. We saw what he did with Daniel Jones, and you might think that Justin Fields isn't great at football, but he's definitely better than Daniel Jones. And I think the thing about the Giants is I think they definitely would like to get a quarterback in the draft, but they cannot act like it's going to be guaranteed because, again, free agency is in March. They cannot act like in the end of April it's going to be guaranteed that one of Shedeur or Cam Ward is going to be there at 3. So they're going to have to do their due diligence in the quarterback position because in this situation, right, we think the Browns can't sign anybody because they have a lot of money tied up to Deshaun Watson. We are never going to think that Kirk Cousins being signed for a minimum salary deal is going to prevent the Titans from drafting a quarterback. The Giants have to assume that, look, we have to safeguard against the possibility that Shedeur and Cam go 1 and 2, and that we might have to then take a quarterback in round 2. And if we get a Jackson Dart or a Jalen Milroe, we have to assume that we need somebody that can play all the games. And if you look at how the options have dwindled down, Sam Darnold might be too expensive, but also as we projected, the Vikings could absolutely just franchise tag him to avoid having to pay him a long-term deal because they're not going to probably need him for longer than 1 year, but they might have a hard time winning or being the highest bidder in free agency if 1 year is all they offer. I actually think Sam Darnold getting franchise tagged is a sneakily a pretty good option for them. So he might not even be on the market. Did the Giants want an old Russell Wilson or an old Kirk Cousins? Probably not. If Daboll likes mobile quarterbacks, even the tradable contracts here are Derek Carr and Geno Smith. They can't really completely just rely on rookies because they can't guarantee that Cam Ward or Shedeur, the 2 playable quarterbacks early, are going to be there. I got Justin Fields going to the Giants.
But they trade for Trey Lance?
Oh, no. I mean, 1, that's interdivision. 2, Trey Lance has even less. Like, Trey Lance is a backup. You cannot assume that he's going to play.
True. And they said Trey Lance to the Chargers, that CBS said.
Oh, see, exactly, as a backup. So we're going to put Fields there, and that still puts them in a situation where they have to make a move for a quarterback in the draft. Now, people, here is where if you look at the Saints or the Seahawks, right? It was always possible that you could move on from Carr or Geno Smith if a great offer came by and you had a chance to sign a quarterback like a Justin Fields. All right. I thought Fields was the logical pivot for both those organizations if the new offensive coach in Seattle or the new coach in New Orleans wants a mobile quarterback. But, you know, the way the market's broken in this exercise, it doesn't make sense to pivot away from Derek Carr or Geno Smith, who are both on reasonable contracts. They're not like massive overpays considering the market. They're also not on like they're both in the last year of guaranteed money on their deals, so they're on 1-year deals. The way the market's shaken out, we got to take Derek Carr and Geno Smith off the market because I think both their teams keep them. So now,
CBS said the Saints could trade Derek Carr to the Colts.
Now we have the Saints going maybe a quarterback in the draft, and I think I have the Seahawks definitely going for a quarterback in the draft. The Saints maybe because they have Hainer and Rattler, and they're probably going to suck, so they're probably going to take a quarterback next year anyways, right? But obviously it's possible.
Who'll be your next year's draft? Oh, Carson Beck, Quinn Ewers.
Oh, no, Ewers is in this year's draft.
Oh, is he? I thought he's going to transfer.
No, he declared for the draft.
Okay, so we did declare.
So,
hey, good. Ark Manning is my quarterback now for my Texas Longhorns now.
Yeah. So the way things broke, I think the most quarterback desperate teams in the draft are the Jets and the Browns. So I actually think that's probably where the top 2 quarterbacks go. So that's what we're going to say. We're going to say the Browns can just take the best quarterback they want to that they evaluate at number 2, and then I think
the Titans straight down.
Or they take Abdul Carter at number 1, like BPA.
Oh yeah, true. Oh yeah, true.
Because they talked about how they don't want to pass up on a generational player. So,
Abdul Carter is a perfect player for that.
He's amazing. So I think what might happen here is the Jets might have to jump up ahead of Vegas, because if the Titans go BPA at number 1 and they signal that they're going quarterback in round 2, Browns probably again they're based on this exercise, they're a quarterback desperate team. They probably take a quarterback at number 2, and then they don't have to really worry about. Well, to be honest, the Raiders probably have to worry about the Giants, but with having Justin Fields and the number 3 overall pick, again, the Giants can also be in the same spot as the Titans. They can say, hey, it's not worth it to go quarterback here. We're not as desperate as the Browns. We can take a Travis Hunter here. We have Justin Fields, circle back to quarterback in round 2. And then if that happens, quarterbacks are not going 4 or 5. The Jets have to worry about number 6. They have to worry about the Raiders, but I think they're going to be without a vet. Like I think the Jets might be a little bit more desperate than the Raiders. So I think the Jets trade up to 5, or they trade up to 4. They make a move like
trade with the Patriots,
and they get the second quarterback, whoever that is. So let's say here that the Browns get Cam Ward, because people tend to put Cam Ward as the top quarterback. I don't have a personal opinion yet on the matter, but we're gonna say the Browns get the top quarterback,
and then the Giants go for Sanders.
No, I'm saying the Giants, they're not as quarterback desperate because they have Fields. I think they want a quarterback in round 2. I think the Jets trade up as high as they have to, because remember, in this exercise they have nobody. They let Rodgers left, and they have nobody. So I think the Jets' desperation, they end up making the move for Sanders. And
who was the Jets' backup quarterback this year?
Tyrod Taylor.
Oh, that's not a good one.
So again, this exercise is bound to leave somebody really desperate. And in this case, it left the Jets as the one desperate team. So that gets Shedeur and Cam Ward off the board. And now, if you go the rest of the way in the draft, I don't think the Dolphins go quarterback in round 1. So I think they miss out on
round 2.
Yeah, round 2. Steelers, Dolphins, Titans, Raiders, Giants. Ooh, okay. And maybe even Seahawks. So this is where it really heats up for the rest of the players, the rest of the quarterbacks. So I'm not going to call it for the rest of the quarterbacks, people, but there's 6 teams that are looking for what I think realistically are 3 quarterbacks. Like, I think there's a race for Milroe, Dart, and Ewers. I think the quarterbacks after these 3, they probably go even later. Like Milroe, Dart, Ewers go somewhere in round 2, round 3. It's all about, again, how desperate are these teams. In this
Milroe didn't have a good season.
I think the desperate teams at this point for a young quarterback are the Titans, the Dolphins, and the Steelers. No, because we gave the Jets Shedeur Sanders.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, they moved up. They trade up.
I think the Raiders and Pete Carroll, they might be okay for now with Russell Wilson, and then they'll take their chances developing Aiden O'Connell. I think the Giants might get lulled into a false sense of security with Fields. And there also might be a pressure to win because things have gone so bad. So maybe they're not even that enthusiastic about a young quarterback. Against Saints, they don't have to draft one. Seahawks, I think that they should, but I don't think they're going to be that desperate. I think the most desperate teams are Steelers, Dolphins, and Titans. So if we're going to award these quarterbacks, I'll just throw some names out there. I think the Dolphins get Ewers because if you think about what Tua is, if you like Tua, there's a chance you like Ewers.
Ewers is a good quarterback. He was a pretty good quarterback for my Texas Longhorns.
So let's put him in Miami.
But his second half is not good though.
And
he likes to struggle.
Let's get really interesting. Let's put Jalen Milroe in Pittsburgh.
Oh, that would be a good one with Mike Tomlin.
Yeah, gets to sit behind Rodgers, doesn't have to play. And then let's put Jackson Dart in Tennessee.
Who did that Jackson Dart play for?
Ole Miss.
Ole Miss. Ooh, I don't know. What would King think about that though?
That works out for him because he's an Ole Miss fan and is true. No, never mind. We're not giving him to the Steelers. Damn. Okay, anyways, so people, that is the completion of our exercise, quarterback landscaping. We did a thorough examination of a bunch of options here. This was, again, no thought went into this. I literally just made the spreadsheet.
This is our opinion.
This is purely just off the top of our heads. If you guys like this concept, people, put it in the chat now. If you're watching this after the fact, put it in the comments. I would love to do this if you guys enjoy it. But otherwise, I'll probably do this exercise 3 times a year. So before the season to project for the next off season, in the middle of the year to project the next off season, and then right before the off season, like we're doing right now. So that's what we're gonna do, people. It's gonna be a 3 times a year stream, unless you guys like it, because then we could revisit this before free agency happens again. But yeah, make sure you guys hit the like button and subscribe to the channel In Motion Football. This is a live streaming community. Everything we do is live. Everything we do is interactive. I love when the chat is a part of the conversation. Jared Brown used to be a part of the chats, and now he's on the panel. So anybody who's in the chat is welcome to jump on the platform as well. That's how we do it here. And like I said, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss when I go live, because you're going to want to be here live. I'm sure watching on
We're going to be live for Thursday.
Exactly. I'm sure being live is cool. Watching it on replay is cool, but being here live to get in the chat and be a part of the conversation is a lot more fun. We are going to be live. I'm not going to be live tomorrow. I'm going to be live on Thursday for the Pro Bowl games and on Sunday for the Pro Bowl games as well.
And so we're
going to watch the Pro Bowl games and probably make fun of them while they're happening. We're going to enjoy them if they're good or make fun of them if they're bad. So either way, if you're watching it by yourself, you're going to win if they're good, and lose if they're bad. But if you're a part of the community hanging out, we're going to win regardless. So I hope to
your
see
Eagle players are at the Sixers game.
What's that?
Your Eagle players are at the Sixers game tonight.
Oh, that's lit. I hope they have a good time. But speaking of a good time, hope to have a good time with you guys on Thursday. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel on your way out, and I'll see you guys on Thursday.
And he's only 5 subscribers away from 200.
What's that?
And you're only 5 subscribers away from 200.
Hell yeah, man. 5 subs from 200. Road to 200. Make sure you guys get me there before the Super Bowl, man. That would be a awesome time to get it. But yeah, I'll see you guys then. I'll see you guys tomorrow. On Thursday. Take care until then. I'm out.